Eternal Weekend is a time of glory and power, of fabulous prizes, and questionable conduct that actually draws the results of the entire event into question. Greetings, owners of fine luxury cardboard rectangles. I hope you are doing well today, my friends. Now, before we dive in to the tantalizing subject of today's video, I just want to take a nice thank you moment for you guys, because honestly, yesterday's video was met with a lot of comments from people saying, hey, we love what you do. I hope you don't stop what you're going to do, like what you're doing. I hope you're not going to stop making content, that sort of thing. And I wasn't really trying to give that vibe yesterday. Like, obviously, I clearly did. But regardless, a ton of people reached out to me, and I just wanted to say thanks for being so nice. That felt really good. You know, it's nice to see how many people enjoy what I'm doing, right? Sometimes you can get a little, like, your headspace may not be in the best place, and other people will notice it better than you do. Either way, thank you, my friends. Now, we are here today to talk about Eternal Weekend, and specifically one event within it that is now very suspect, to say the least. So what happened is Eternal Weekend has just concluded, right? It is a series of Eternal events. If you don't know what Eternal is, basically, that's the old school format. So you've got Legacy, you've got Vintage, everything all the way back to the beginning of Magic is on the table, with the exception of a few restricted or banned cards here or there. But give or take that little bit, you can still play with like over 20,000 different Magic cards. You have a huge variety of options. Now, obviously this leads to the most powerful, insane kind of decks, which makes it fun and crazy and whatever. So Wizards of the Coast has these Eternal events where they charge $25 a head to get into them and offer very juicy prizes. Now, this isn't a physical gathering. This is a gathering on MTGO, right? Which is not, like, if you know Arena, MTGO is the older pre-Arena version of digital Magic. It's a more of a one-to-one version of the direct Magic experience. It's not as visually appealing as Arena, but it definitely is more serviceable than Arena when taken as a whole, especially considering that all of the cards in the game exist on Arena, right? So you can access everything on Arena in a way now I'm misspeaking here. You can access all Magic cards on MTGO, which is where this event is occurring. Like, everything is available there. But on top of that, when you play in an event like this, Wizards of the Coast provides you with a God account, which essentially has access to everything. You don't have to go and acquire all the things yourself. Everything is there. You can build whatever you want. Now, that makes perfect sense for a competition like this. Now, with entry fees that steep, they must have some significant prizes on the line, right? And they do. You get a number of points. You get a whole bunch of treasure chests, which are like random reward loot box kind of things from MTGO, however you want to view it. That's really what they boil down to, right? So you get a bunch of those, and like the crown jewel from this event, or from this overall tournament, is each event has its own particular unique Magic art that you get to own. So essentially, like, for MTGO, a bunch of old school awesome like Power 9 cards and things like that had their art recommissioned. Now, the reason for that is because in the olden days of Magic, basically Wizards didn't technically own the artwork. They had, or if they did, they had to, either way, they had to pay royalties to the artists. That's what it boils down to. So the oldest Magic art is something they don't really want to reuse because they haven't paid a flat fee for it. So as a result, when it comes to like the MTGO art and everything like that, they just decided to have new artwork commissioned for these big, expensive, older pieces. So that's what these events are for. The top prize is winning an epic piece of artwork from some of the most expensive old school Magic cards. Like, for example, this event, it was for, as far as I understand, Mishra's Workshop, which is a insane land. You put it into play, comes into play untapped, taps for 3 colorless mana, but you can only spend that on artifacts. What a restriction, right? Like, I mean, it's such an insanely good card. But regardless, this is the original art that was painted for that card. We're not talking about an art print or anything like that. You literally get to own a piece of magic art. On top of that, a piece of magic art for a highly coveted magic card. Not the original like artwork, but still, it doesn't matter. This is a prestige item of significant value, right? And that obviously intensifies the level of competition. So you understand the stakes overall and what we're dealing with. We're dealing with a tournament that's expensive to get into, that has a significant prize, and everything just kind of went astray with this, okay? Because we're dealing with MTGO, you can't really have cheating. Actually, what am I talking about? Of course you can. Never mind. MTGO can have cheating, and it's simply by dint of the fact that there's a bunch of like bugs that exist within MTGO for a bunch of different cards. So there are cards that just don't function properly in the client. And I believe, although I'm not 100% sure about this, but I believe that MTGO's policy is that you're supposed to be aware of these card bugs, and if you abuse them in a tournament, then you just get completely disqualified, right? So we're dealing with a situation where this is the event where the prize is the workshop art. That's what's on the line. And what's going on is we're dealing with two people who have progressed deeply into this tournament. They're near the end. Now, one of the things I need to point out is I'm not going to be using anybody's names in this. YouTube operates in a really weird way, and I've seen other people get hit by this. I've seen MTG Lion, I've seen Desolator Magic. Both of them have videos get hit by this, and I guarantee it happens to other people as well. Here's how it works. The event that's going on is just like a regular everyday public Magic event. There's nothing private about it. However, the individuals involved with the event, whoever it is, they can just go, I'm going to go to YouTube and issue like a privacy strike against your video, where they like provide proof that it's them in the video with their identification or whatever it is. And then the video, basically YouTube comes and's like, hey man, you've got something in here you're not allowed to have in here. And then the video just gets taken down. I've seen it happen like to multiple Magic YouTubers, specifically when dealing with talking about like high-level Magic players. It's happened in different circumstances to different YouTubers with different people. So I will not be like putting a link to wherever it is. I won't be mentioning people's names. I'm here to talk about the overall event as opposed to specific people. And that's my way of evading the fact that YouTube won't acknowledge that Magic events like this is all public knowledge and there's nothing private about it. It's like a public tournament with published results. And you know what I mean? Like, it's one of those situations where I'm at the mercy of YouTube, and so I just can't bother with the names, okay? So put those aside. If you're really interested, trust me, it's not going to be hard for you to find the info. You can look elsewhere, right? And the names are fairly irrelevant, I'm guessing, to most people for the story anyways. It's really just the details of how things unfolded and what was at stake, right? So you've got the situation where both these players are basically like 7-2 and maybe 8-1. They have fantastic records, and they're right there at the threshold for the top 8 cutoff, right? And I mean, again, it's not just the painting that's up for grabs. It's all kinds of extra prizes, like piles of loot boxes and points and all the little frappery that comes along with MTGO like playing, and also the prestige of half-decent placement in the event at the very least, right? So we have a scenario where we have the individual who ends up making the misstep that will cost him most likely. I'm not 100% sure how these investigations shake out, but it does seem to me from the information that's provided that the results of the tournament will be overturned and somebody else will be receiving the top prize. I can't state that as a fact, obviously, but the interaction was captured through a live stream. Not the person who ended up winning the tournament was not the one whose side it was taken from. They were not the ones streaming it at the time, or it just wasn't shown on stream, but it started out innocently enough, right? Like, you are allowed to ask your opponent if they will concede to you. You're flat out allowed to say that. You can just go, hey, it'd be great if you just forfeit to me and I could just continue on in the tournament. There's nothing in the rules against that, right? But you're not allowed to take it a step further than that. So basically, the conversation starts out in a very totally acceptable way. There's nothing against any of the tournament rules at this point. So the individual who went on to win the tournament says to the individual who they're about to face off against, hey, good job on going 7-2. Is there any chance you want to help me top 8? It would mean the world to me, smiley face. So right there, that's literally just, hey, you've done a great job in this tournament. While also bringing up the fact that they're 7-2, I guess to like kind of reinforce the idea, like you're not going to make it to the top 8 even if you win. You know what I mean? Your record's good. You did good, but you're not going to make it. So how about you let me make it? And there's nothing wrong with that. These tournaments run long. You've played like 7, 8, 9, 10 games of Magic, whatever it is, and you're just looking like, I'd like to seal my way in here and just kind of, I stand more to lose from this than you stand to gain, and maybe just because you're feeling chill or don't care about making it any further, maybe you'll give me the win. There's nothing wrong with that at all. Now, what happens back with the response from the other individual, though, is where it starts to go off the rails, because he responds back, hey, you two, I can make only top 16. So if you want to give me like 25 of the treasures and something more, for me, this is okay. And this is where it's not acceptable. You're not allowed to offer something for a concession. So you can't say, if you concede, I'll buy you a slice of pizza. I'll give you $100. I'll give you a back rub. None. It doesn't matter what level it is. You can't do that, right? The only thing that's allowed at all in sort of like talking about prizes is when you can offer to do like a prize split with somebody where you both just kind of go, we're going to like intentionally draw and split prizes. That's the only way you can do things. Any other talk of like, give me this and I'll concede, or I'll give you this if you concede, that's where it goes into the realm of not acceptable. So the dude who said, pay me those treasure chests, he's already violating the tournament rules. Now, unfortunately for the person who ended up winning the tournament, and this game wasn't to win the tournament again, it was just to get into top 8, right? Just to lock your way into the next step. But anyways, he said, check Twitter, right? So then they continued the conversation through Twitter. But what happened was this guy who said, give me the treasure chests, was streaming the entire incident, right? And when you're switching between different screens, you know, like if you know Windows, when you're switching between screens, like if you hit the window tab, whatever, it'll show you all the different things you have open. So there's a brief moment during the stream, somebody uploaded this video to YouTube, so I was able to actually sit there and pause it and take a look and cross-reference with the picture that I found posted elsewhere. And I just looked and was like, okay, yeah, the conversation's there. Like you can literally see they have a Twitter conversation, and in the Twitter conversation, the person who is going to be conceded to, the one who's going to win and continue onward, says, I will, like, basically agrees to advertise their stream on top of compensating them. So it's like, I'll give you what you asked for and I'll advertise your stream. So I don't know. I'm assuming that either that guy didn't know he was on stream or thought that he would keep it hidden. But regardless, that clearly got seen by the audience. At this point, it really does feel like the writing's on the wall. I mean, I can't say for sure that's how it went down. But I mean, from the images and video that exists, what looks like unedited video, it really does look like he started out innocently saying, hey, you know what? We can just go ahead and, you know, if you just want to concede to me, I'll go forwards. And then the other guy's like, come on, you know, maybe give me a little something, maybe give me a little something, maybe not even knowing it's against the rules. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying there's any malice on anybody's part. And honestly, these kind of decisions, it's like you got a big prize on the line and that lizard part of your brain that totally wants whatever it is and is focused on that prize just sees what's going on as an easy stepping stone. And we're inherently lazy as a species, right? People are just lazy. Think about, like, I know I'm lazy, just lazy and slothful. It's just like programmed into us to conserve energy when we used to live out in the wild, but we don't need that anymore. But either way, it leads to taking shortcuts like this. And it's really unfortunate because at this point, that's as far as I understand, just full, like, you're disqualified from the event, right? So that would nullify your standing entirely and disqualify you from prizes, which would mean the prizes would then fall down to the person who came in second, right? And so honestly, it's unfair to everybody from that point upwards on in the tournament. You know what I mean? While I can understand the desire to take that shortcut, you do it at your own peril, right? You're literally breaking the rules of the event at this point. And so it's like, you did what happened there. It seems very likely that this will lead to a DQ and the prize will be passed down. All right, so that's my take on the whole subject. I actually talked about intentional draws in a previous video if you want to go and check it out. It's like Magic has an intentional problem. I originally was trying to decide between doing this video and doing one on Krark's like new card because it just got such cool flavor and story to it, man. Like, that's a dope card for them to make. So I think I'm actually going to go and work on making that video too. And I'll just put up probably another video today if I can get it done in time. And if not, we can talk about it tomorrow because honestly, it's sweet. But either way, I guess at this point, let me know what you think in the comments below, my friends. Thanks for coming by. If you like what I'm doing here, like, comment, subscribe. It's all great for the channel. You love what I'm doing, jump on my Patreon, and I'll toss up a link to my newest lore video on the screen. If you like Magic the Gathering and you like lore, go watch it. You won't be disappointed. Goodbye for now.